Hello there. I hope you have a drink and something to snack on. Allow yourself to block out your surroundings and tap into our conversation. You are listening to the Safe Room Podcast with yours truly, Shon Williams.
What is going on? So,
I feel you. Okay. I want to move into this activity portion of the show.
Sure.
And I'm thinking for this one, maybe if there's any questions you want to ask me, then I'm opening the floor to you. I know it's just like you said you're used to stuff like this, or you've done stuff like this in the past. So I kind of want to see if there's anything you want to add on or just share, or maybe just ask me openly,
Okay, so what I'm going to do to stall while I'm thinking about my question for you, I'm going to open up the initial list of AQF questions that I put together in a blast. So hold on, let's see.
Yeah, no problem.
It is the original 60-something question list that I put together in a flurry of thoughts.
Okay.
And I will have you pick a number between 1 and 60 something. I forget how many questions it was. I think it was 62 or 63.
62, 63.
Okay. So I will have you pick any number between 1 and 61, and I will read the corresponding question to that number. I'm going to have you answer, and while you're answering, I'm going to think about a question to ask you.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
Okay, so, I love it. It's just free flowing.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So a number from 1 to 61?
Yep.
14. Okay,
so are you satisfied with where you are at this moment?
Oh, I now regret saying 14. Damn.
There are a lot of questions like these, mental state at that point in time. But
wow. That's such a deep question because, oh my God, there's so much layers to it. Okay, short answer, I would probably say yes.
Okay.
I am satisfied. To go into detail. Okay, you know what? Let's start at a certain point. Let's start with 2020 because I was in university at the time, York University. Shout out to the York U alumni, go Lions. And that was the time, again, the pandemic. So everything moved online. Everything was virtual. And for me, I didn't know exactly where I wanted to head long-term into the future. I was working within the community, within Jane and Finch. But at the same time, I didn't know what I wanted to do for myself. It's once I get this Bachelor of Arts degree, what's next for me? What's really the next thing I want to do? And when I started this new position, working as a community research coordinator, that's where I kind of realized something about myself. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I realized is that I actually love to meet new people and just have conversations like we're having right now.
Yeah.
And it was related to the work I was doing. So as a research coordinator, I was always speaking with community residents. And basically I was collecting data and information on, listen, we're trying to establish this ethical process, this research procedure for any researcher who comes in who wants to do work. They would have to follow certain steps. These are the things that you have to do. You can't just come in, ask your random questions, and then just think there's no consequence. So I think me engaging with community residents on a daily basis at the time being, it made me realize, you know what, I want to keep doing something like this, but just in a different lane. And what does that look like? So then I also remember at the time being in university, I was also hosting a podcast. It was called Negative Balance. And it was basically business related topics. So because of that, I thought, wait, light bulb. I was okay, maybe I should get into podcasting. Maybe this is something I want to do. I've hosted a couple episodes, maybe this is something I can work on my own. And I think from that moment, it just started to open up and I started to feel more comfortable with just myself, being authentic, sharing my thoughts. I wasn't so quiet about, express my personality because that was the thing about me. I wasn't shy. I was just quiet. It's just anytime I want to express myself, I do, but most of the times I didn't. And I think that kind of spanned in from my days in elementary, middle school for sure, because there really wasn't nothing to do. I'm talking about the middle school I went to, there was barely no clubs. There was nothing, literally student council, that was it. And then high school was probably the time where I really got to do a lot and do a lot of clubs, sports, everything like that. But when I went to university again, I kind of pulled back and focused more on my academics. So I feel podcasts allow me to, again, express myself in a different way. So when people saw that, people were legit like stunned. They're like, I ain't never seen Shon talk like this. I ain't never seen him act like this. Like, what is going on? It's like, it's always been there in me. It's just, I needed something. And, I think it resonates very well, the name of the podcast, The Safe Room, because it became my personal safe room, my safe space, so I can be myself. And I think through all the trials and tribulations, or even the setbacks, I'm still satisfied where I'm at, because I'm getting to do what I love. And I can honestly say, like, full-heartedly, I do not regret anything in terms of like expressing myself, express my personality, giving my personal energy to everyone.
Absolutely.
And again, like, I got to give thanks to God as well, because I always try to put him first into everything that I do.
Absolutely.
So he's also given me like that courage and that will to just keep going. So it's like, no matter if it's like, you know what, no one downloaded this episode, or you know what, I didn't get the grants, or this event didn't go the way it is, like, I'm still satisfied, because number one, I'm living life, and it's because of God, but also just I'm able to just be myself unapologetically. So yeah, damn.
Amazing. Yeah, I love that. I feel like you articulated that so brilliantly, and like, I think that just in this conversation, like, your energy is really infectious, and like, it's really warm, and like something that people gravitate to. Like, I'm gravitating to, so that's amazing. So I can definitely see that you are very much satisfied with where you are at this moment. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
Seems like it's like a self-discovery process, and like, which is while doing something that you're really passionate about, which is really cool. So while you're speaking, my question for you.
I know you have to think about something after all that spiel I went on.
Okay, so without delving, if you don't want to, how do you think your deepest insecurities have affected your relationship with yourself, with others, and how you present yourself to the world?
Okay, that's another loaded question. Damn. Okay, my deepest insecurities.
So you don't need to delve too much into your insecurities, but I think, kind of like going back to what I talked about earlier when I was talking about my fear of birds, it's just like talking about, I think it's important to acknowledge your shadow self, or like the parts that you're not so, quote unquote, I won't say happy about, but like the parts of yourself that like you don't necessarily like to bring to light. And because that definitely influences who we are, whether like negatively or positively, whatever. So I'm just wondering, like, for you specifically, like, A, have you even identified those insecurities? And B, it's just like, with you identifying them, have you chosen to disregard them or acknowledge them? And like, how does that influence your relationship with yourself, your relationships with others, and how you like show yourself to the world?
I appreciate you expanding on the question, because I had to think about, like, do I have any insecurities? Like, I know I do, but at the same time, it's like, it's one of those situations, like, if you have insecurities, like, which one do you say, you know? So
whatever you're most comfortable with.
I think for me, and like, this may be like a cliche or common one, but like imposter syndrome, just tell myself, like, are things gonna go well? Like, I don't know if I should do this, because I'm just worried about the initial result, or like the response from like society, like, what's it gonna be, So this was something I carried for a while now. Like, it even goes back to just me being young as a child. It's funny that you mentioned the question before, how it relates to my personality. Again, I was not shy, but quiet. I was someone that I felt like I wanted to express myself more, but it's just like I couldn't. Like, the only times I really did was if I was in school and like I took like any drama class, because that's the whole point of it. You can be dramatic.
It's always drama. Drama gives you the outlet.
It gives you the outlet where like you can be silly, you can be goofy, you can be whatever you want to be, and like that was fine. So for a long period of time, I was always thinking about, like, if I do this, like, what's people gonna think about it? And I was just, it consumed me. Even during the earlier parts I started my podcast, I was so fixated on, like, are people gonna like this post? Are people gonna like this episode? I was the type of person that got started, I would obsessively check my YouTube channel, because I used to upload full episodes. That's something you probably don't know. I used to. I would check not even every day, like every maybe 3 hours, just to see, like, all right, did we get a new view? Did people watch this? Like, did they put a like, did a comment? And like, I'll keep it a buck. There were times that people didn't even see anything. Like, I would have weeks where it's like 0 views, completely empty. And like, that would shatter me inside, because I'm like, damn, like, are people really paying attention? So in 2022, I think it's when I graduated from York. So I was done from school. Thank you, Jesus, I was done. Like, I didn't have to deal with no more papers, no more assignments. I'm done. And I think that was the year I started to go out more to events, because even before, I think another reason why people start to hear more about the podcast, because you actually saw me go outside. The only time I went outside was to go to York and come back. I never went to an event. I never went to a party or a function with my friends. I just went to school, did what I need to do, come back. So 2022, I'm like, wait, I want to go and leave. And it was still that imposter syndrome side where it's like, damn, how does this affect me? Because it affects me. Am I good enough to be doing this? How does it affect others? Because it's like, again, just a relationship. Like, are people going to resonate with the stuff I have to say? You know? And I think what was really helpful and just very informative is that anytime I mentioned I had a podcast, people's face would be like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Like, tell me more. And the thing about me, I never thought there would be a point where it would be a situation where someone said, tell me more, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that, I just thought if I said, hey, I have a podcast, like, okay, cool, move on.
Yeah.
But when people are like, oh, tell me more, it's like, oh, you want to hear more? Like, wait, what? Okay, cool. So the more I kept going out and connecting with people, it came to the point where I started to tell myself, you know what? The fact that I'm here is one thing.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm also talking about my podcast is another thing. But people want to hear more about what I have to say about my podcast, about my platform, or the stuff I even do outside of that. It shows that, this imposter syndrome it was just taking a toll on me, but I just need to just let go and just, like, again, be myself and just tell myself, like, you know what, whatever happens.
Yeah.
If people resonate with what I have to say, cool. If people don't, that is totally fine as well. Because I was more on the latter where I was just so stuck about, damn, if people don't like it. But if it was people did like it, I would really praise, like, yes, like, this is great. Now today, like, I'm telling you, if people say I've never heard about this guy, I'm like, all right, swallow.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. You move on. So, like, for me, I think, again, it affected me at the time because I was so worried about getting the affirmation or the praise from everyone else. And then now it's like, whoever likes it, whoever doesn't, it's totally fine too.
No,
so
absolutely.
Overall, it's changed me in terms of how I approach not just my podcast, but different situations as well. If I'm talking to someone, or even if it's like I'm having a conversation with someone that's like, damn, like the way they're speaking to me, it's like I need to, like, change my vocabulary. How we code switch. Black people code switch. It's like, okay, I'm gonna talk this elegant way now because I'm speaking to you. It's like, nah, I'm not gonna, like, pressure myself to do things like that. I don't want to put this, like, inferior complex as, like, a mask just to cover up the fact, like, no, like, I'm just a normal chill dude, and, like, if you like what I do, cool. If you don't, kick rocks, be breezy, it's okay. So yeah, I hope I answered the question. Now here I am now asking now, did I answer the question?
No, you absolutely did. I think that, like, what it sounds like, it's been like a journey of, like, owning what it is, the internal feelings that you had. Just, like, I just have to do it. There's a thing that I want to do, I'm gonna do it, which is go out there first and foremost. So get out of that initial, like, does my voice matter, does what I have to say matter, like, get out of your head with that, talk about the thing, and accepting whether the initial response is positive or not, and just kind of going on, because it doesn't change who you are. Like, you're still your person with or without that conversation. So, like, I definitely do see that, like it is a journey, and, like, you have to go through that to, like, arrive at that conclusion, and, like, even arrive at new, like, I guess, end meanings or whatever meaning you want to attach to it. So no, it's beautiful.
I appreciate that. Wow. I'm glad that we did this little exercise as well. Because sometimes I like to answer questions to other people as well. I don't always, like, be, like, the person ask the question and I have to sit there. So I really appreciate that. I do have one more thing. It's more of, like, a fun activity just to kind of close things off.
Let's do it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of stealing this, so I apologize to the person I'm doing this to. So, like, there's this someone named Chit Suzanne. She's the host of the But What Do I Know podcast. She does variations of this question, but I do like the question that she does ask in particular because I think it's something that allows people to reflect. Some people take some time to think about it. Others know exactly the answer to the question. So I wanted to ask you, So hopefully I hope it's not too like pressure and everything like that. I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be good. So the question I want to ask you is, being at like we're here right now in life, everything that has happened so far for Faizah from start to right now, would you want to rewind any part of your rewind to any part of your of your life and just kind of just evaluate it there? Would you rather fast forward to a certain part of your life, or would you rather just pause? Just pause right now and kind of reflect on everything that's happened so far. So would you rather rewind, fast forward, or pause?
To clarify, with rewinding or fast forwarding, is there an element of influencing a change, or is it just about observing?
I say probably change.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. There's a moment in your life that you would want to change and rewind, or if there's something that you would like to kind of forward to and kind of get a premonition of how it would look like, then that's what I would say the forward would be. Then the pause is just to reflect on everything right now, in the present.
To be honest, just to pause. I think my initial answer, the reason why I clarified was because my initial answer was to want to rewind in order to pause and observe moments that I really do, nostalgic moments that I kind of miss, childhood winters here, elementary school here, this softness to it. I can't really explain it. Just my pink cozy sweaters and stuff, just remember stuff like that. And I think I do have a desire to want to pause on those moments and really absorb it, and take it in. But I think that in the same vein of that desire, that is what will influence my desire to pause here and now, because literally an hour from now, this is going to be a memory for the both of us. In terms of its significance, that's up for debate, but it's going to be a memory. And I think that we should be, or I should be doing more of that, just observing present moments, because I'm a very angsty person. I have a lot of anxiety, so I'm very much always trying to think ahead or thinking about what if da da da, it's not great for me, it's not great for my mental, it's not, it really isn't. And so I think there's that. Looking into the future, all that will do is invite a shit ton of questions that I will be unable to answer in the moment. And as far as I'm concerned, that might fuck up whatever path I'm trying to get to. So so I'd rather not look into the future and just allow myself to there's definitely that curiosity. I'm not gonna lie. I've watched Back to the Future. I love that movie. The movie's great anyways. But it's just looking into the future and seeing yourself and maybe not recognizing yourself, or even worse, recognizing yourself and just being so not content with that will absolutely destroy me. It's just I see who I am for what I am, and that vision will probably just fuck with me for life as far as I'm concerned. So I'd rather not see that. I'd rather not guesstimate or see how things end up or whatever. I think that really I'd rather just see the process through, and those processes and how things kind of pan out. That's the thing that makes up, not to be corny, but that's what makes up the journey, and that's what makes up the appreciation for however you end up. And maybe even not appreciation. I think we have this optimism bias of oh, everything's all gonna work out, and even if things don't work out, the journey was still the journey, you know? Which is, and for you to appreciate the journey, it requires you to be present and in the moment and just observing things for what they are, and to the best of your ability, doing it in a very neutral way and not really attaching meaning, whether it's positive or negative. It's just this is what it is. This is who I am at this very moment, and so on and so forth. So
definitely,
my answer is present moment all the way.
I think for me, it's easily pause. I don't want to fast forward, you said. I don't want to know what could be in the future, because I feel if you fast forward now, once you now say okay, I'm in the present, now you start to kind of, it depends. You may be that person. It's okay, if everything's good in the future, now you start thinking to yourself, what do I need to do now to get there?
That's the thing. It's this paradox. If you think about it, it's yes, you it will influence your thought process on how to get there, but that thought process being influenced is the thing that's leading you to that thing in the that end
Yeah.
result. So it's like, whether you can, like, you try and control it or you think about it or not, the thing might happen. Or maybe it might be like a time paradox thing of like a time loop or time warp, where
Yeah.
it's just like, by seeing the thing, it kind of puts you on an alternate path. And like, I just don't think it has like any sort of ending, but it does influence like your reality and your perception of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, for sure. And then like the rewind, it's like, even though I would like to probably go back and kind of relive those special moments, I think for me, I would like to just pause and just kind of take in everything that has happened so far, because I think when you're pausing, you are kind of doing like the rewind portion, like looking back and everything. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 in a way. And even though you can't fully look into what's moving forward, I feel like, taking that time to pause and just kind of tell yourself, like, you know what, I'm trying to make sure like I can get to this point. Kind of tell yourself, like, I can do this. These are the goals that I want to set. You are kind of thinking, it's like forward thinking in a way. So yeah, I feel like for me it's pause, but it's interesting just to hear the different answers from people, because some people say I would rewind, some would say I would fast forward. I want to know like what's gonna happen the next 20 to or 10 to 20 years and such.
No, absolutely. It's also just as valid. Like, there are things in the past where there's a definite like, I absolutely should not have, or I could have done, like, once again, shoulda, woulda, coulda have, like, whatever. But
Yeah.
like, there are certain, like, I think that objectively there are certain instances in any and everyone's past that's like, yeah, I could have gone without experiencing that, and this could have been so much better. But then again, could have, you wouldn't know. There's no way to say it with certainty. So yeah, but I can imagine that everyone has a moment that they kind of wish alternate, like for an alternative outcome. But all that stuff influences who you just become or who you are. And like, in terms of whether it's positive or negative, it just depends on how you take it. But can't blame anyone for like wanting to see the future, like,
Just like, hold
wanting
on,
to see the
like,
past,
did I
like,
become a millionaire? Hold
no,
on.
like, shit happens. Shit happens, Maybe in the future, like, in terms of like things that are of value, maybe it's not monetary value that's important. Maybe it's something else. And that's a new form of like capital. Is wisdom capital a thing? Like, what does the future look like? And like, what is the context of the future, and what is your place in that future? And it's really interesting. I'm curious about that because, like, sorry, I'm going on a tangent here.
No, it's good. No, I feel like we need. I love the way you're going with this.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I saw like a question online that was it was something again related to the future. It's like, if you were like teleported to like 20 years from now, right? And like, let's just say you were dropped here. Like, what is the first thing that you're searching up in that timeline? Which I feel like it's interesting, because it's like, dang, like what do you put up? Like, what's the first thing are you wondering about?
I feel like the first thing would probably be influenced by whatever it is I see. And that will be the thing that I will search up. But I just kind of going on to the future thing. So like, in my master's, my master's is in strategic foresight and innovation. And it's just really, it in a nutshell, it's about identifying trends or signals, different like possibly unrelated signals in society, and trying to explore patterns that form out of it that could possibly influence trends. And those trends might influence whatever the future of society is. So there's a lot of like experimental or like creative ways of looking at what the future would look like. So I did this project where like my team and I use this 2x2 matrix, where it's I think it's like Dater's 4 futures or something. So you look at two extremes, and each axis has a different like label to it. So this project, it was focused on the futures of wellness. I care about wellness, whatever. So we explored futures where there's on one axis, it's about a privatized or public world. So one that's controlled by corporations versus by the government, and then one where it's highly tech centric versus like non-tech centric. So like very much about nature and whatnot, right? So those are pretty simple exercise, but then what we had to do is try and conceive of like, what society might look like in each of those 4 different futures.
Right.
And then my team and I ended up creating like an immersive experience that was focused on a tech intensive and privatized world where wellness was prioritized, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And like we basically just started talking about biometrics and like really looking at not just physical markers, but also like mental, psychological markers, and like creating like a points or caste system based off of like where you're at in your wellness and like
Yeah.
things to facilitate wellness in different areas of society. Super bare bones, but like I just think that like kind of going back to the thing on what is valued in society at that point, and I guess in the future that you're in, that's the thing that you can't really guess that until you're actually in that place, right? Like, so
Yeah.
what you mentioned about the millionaire thing, I'm like, what if it isn't about obtaining a like a large amount of wealth? Also, is being a millionaire even all that much now? Like, what if they're like freaking like trillionaires or quadruple, I don't know,
I'll
like
tell you
fucking
this.
shit.
Listen,
So
I see a lot of things online, and sometimes like you see people getting the amount of money that they get. Sometimes I'm thinking like, bro, it's crazy.
So it's like, even like that's the thing, like we can acknowledge it as like crazy right now because having a large amount of wealth is just like, it's insane. But it's like in the context of the future, maybe it's not about wealth. Maybe it's a value system, like a certain like belief system that's like the thing of the day or the time. Like maybe it's about like, I don't know, like if we're talking about like climate change or whatever, like what is the most like sustainable way of living, right? And like that is a thing that represents your value in society, your ability to like rear the land that you live on and live sustainably.
I hope
And
so.
that's the point of value, right? Or like you really having this, like literally I was listening to a podcast the other day about like how blue collar work is going to be increasingly like valued versus like white collar work, because white collar work is like brain work or whatever, and like strategy or whatever, but then blue collar work, it's like quote unquote manual labor, and it's like you're using your hands, like you have to like you're tinkering essentially. And those are the things that, those skills are so important. Those are the things of value, especially with like the rise of AI and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like context matters, and the context influences what we think is valuable, and that will constantly change every single step of the way. So I don't know how I got here, but
no, listen, it's all right. No, go.
Yeah.
I feel like even just this discussion as well, whether it's like moving into the future, even like the rewind, pause, and looking forward. I feel like if you're an entrepreneur as well, you may take that question for yourself. Is like, what do I do? Like, do I rewind and look at the points? Like, okay, I'm here in my business, or I'm here as an entrepreneur. Where do I rewind and look at the points? Like, okay, what worked? What didn't work? You can pause to kind of reflect and think about these things, but also how can you move forward with those goals and with those objectives? So I think even a question like that, you can ask yourself, you can just like tweak it, modify in a way. So it helps, entrepreneurs kind of figure out, where they're going. I always think about this for myself as well. I think about where I started with the safe room to where I'm at right now, to kind of pause, reflect, and then like where it's going in the future. So I think it applies in all different forms.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have in terms of questions, everything. I want to ask you this: how long do you think we've been recording for?
So my phone has been face down intentionally because I'm like, I know for sure it's definitely more than an hour. I want to guess maybe 2 hours, but I could be very wrong.
It's not 2 hours.
Okay, so it's less than 2 hours?
It's like an hour. Right now on my screen, it's an hour and 32 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No. Okay. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Like it felt like I was very engaged through this. Like I really enjoyed this.
I'll be honest. That's what I'm saying. I didn't want to cut off the vibes, because I think my longest episode I've done, because I have split into different parts. But the longest one I did was like an hour and 40. So like you're close.
Do you want to try and push it to like an hour 50? Like let's.
I love it. She's like, you know what? First episode we're gonna.
I told you I'm
record.
competitive. I told you I'm competitive. Man.
And then, okay, if I'll make this, I'll give you a little like thumbs up. With those, I've done 2 episodes an hour and 40. However, I needed multiple guests. So you're the first person to like have this like allocated time with just being like the only like solo guest.
I want the 1 hour and 50. Like let's use
So,
something
like,
with the 20
okay.
minutes.
You know what? I like the vibe we're going. I just need to make sure that like everything's good. I don't want my computer to die and everything. But I mean, like, if there's more you want to talk about, we could just talk freely now. This could be like an open period, you know? Like we could just talk about 2024, like what's going on, you know. Is there any goals you want to accomplish? Obviously, there's a lot that I want to accomplish. You know what? We did have our conversation before. We talked about one new thing we want to try for 2024. You told me yours. I did not get the chance to explain mine. So I'll do it for you guys on here. So there's two things I want to try for 2024. I've kind of posted one of those things on my story before on Instagram. So I'm a music lover. I love listening music. My favorite genre is like R&B and hip hop, like especially 2000s. Like I'm born on like 2000 itself, so like I lived through that decade.
2000, same.
2000,
yeah,
so
same.
yeah. So I grew up listening to like so many different artists. Like BET was my shit. Like it was the thing. Like, I could not go a day without listening to BET. It was so much where like when those songs and those videos were playing, I could literally predict the next song that was coming out because it was just
it was
constant.
on a loop. Yeah,
on loop.
BET
so,
was it was where it's at.
BET,
like where it was at, yeah.
106 in Park. Y'all listen, what y'all know about 106 in Park?
Terrence J and Roxy? Come
on. Yo. I was watching a TikTok the other day, and I think it was like the freestyle like Friday or like the battles they used to do. Like, they were so unique, bro. Like 106 in Park was like, if you are like a young artist that was trying to like come on, or even like the top names, they would all go there, man. Those were the days, man.
Memories.
But yeah, but anyway, again, I'm a music lover. I like listen to music. Even today, I try to have a good mix of like just tracks I've listened through my childhood, old school, even new school. I feel like I'm one of the only people that try to like really like give new school its love, because everyone's like, music today is dead. I'm like, I don't think it's dead. It's just like there's so much of a variety of music that you just have to like find it in different areas, you know. But I will say this, like in terms of like someone who listens to hip hop, I am not the biggest fan of mainstream hip hop. It doesn't connect with me like that. But one thing I want to try going to 2024, I kind of want to like get into music. When I mean into that, I want to like make songs, start making songs, because you know, I do have like, I don't have a song, but if you guys hear like the intro music and the outro music for the podcast, that's an actual like song I created back in 2021. So it's actually on Apple Music. You guys go listen to it, First Lady. So yours truly. It's a play on like the president, first lady, just simple as that. And it's something like, you know what, I just want to try something for fun, because I feel like with my podcast, I've kind of been so focused on like building it, expanding the vision, which is great. But sometimes I tell myself like, yo, I need a hobby. I just need something to do for fun. So I definitely want to like get into like music, having just to create a song, maybe like do like a little EP. And the thing is too, like I know a couple local musicians as well. So if I need to get features, well, I know who to connect and like reach out to, like, hey, you trying to hit the studio?
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of them. The second one I want to do, and this is kind of like for my own personal pleasure as well. I want to try like a form of martial arts, particularly maybe like jiu-jitsu. I don't know what it is, because like when it comes to jiu-jitsu too, people rip the sport so badly. They're like, yo, there's nothing special about it, it's just like groundwork. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of fun and entertaining. It's a good movement exercise as well. So like I kind of want to get into something like that. There's a couple of like spots close to me that I can go to and like do that, because I don't know. I really like the engagement of it as well, you know. Plus like it's cardio. Like I'm pretty sure after like a whole session or a whole sparring session, you're probably gonna be dripping in sweat.
Absolutely.
Like you know how you see those videos online and like they're just drenched in their gis, just completely. So like I don't know. I guess I want to be part of that culture now, but like I would love to try something like that in the future.
Have you ever heard? Sorry, go ahead.
No. So I was literally wrapping up. So like that's kind of the two things I want to try out for 2024.
Okay. Two questions. So A, for the music side, like what genre of music would you be interested in like experimenting with, and why? And two, have you ever heard of Krav Maga? I'm not sure if it counts under like martial arts, but I have an uncle that like is really into it. And I think that it's so cool. Like I really want to do it. But I was just curious if you've heard of it and whether there's any appeal with doing it.
Yeah, I've heard of Krav Maga, so like, yeah, that's something I might even like kind of experiment with. And in terms of the genres, yeah, I definitely like hip hop, R&B. I want it to sound like it's like new school, but like the lyrics or like the flow is like very old school in a way, or like my own type of style. So, and even like reggae, if it has like some reggaeton like type of sounds or instrumentation, because I love reggae music. Like I did not. I grew up in a Caribbean household. I wasn't born in Grenada, but my background is Grenada. So like my mom and my dad, they listen to calypso music. And like you know what I'm talking about. You know when you grow up in a Caribbean household and just like they're blasting music on a weekend, you're cleaning. That it's instilled in my brain now. But I understand like they were putting me on and like it's great music. So even taking those type of like soundscapes and putting it into like a song, that's something I definitely want to try to. Like even the theme song for the podcast, First Lady, if you hear the first couple seconds, it literally gives off like a summer type of vibe. So like, you know, yeah, I'll put the link in the description. You guys can
do
see
that. Do that. Let us all hear it.
Yeah, like, so I definitely want to tap into that. And in terms of like the hip hop side of things, I want like the lyrics to like just be, it's more of a message rather than like I'm trying to like go bar for bar. I'm trying to like listen. Don't get me wrong. I love listening to that type of rap because sometimes it's like bar overload. Like it gets me going sometimes. But I want it to be more of a message. So like, you know, incorporating some Nas in there in terms of like the messaging, but even like keeping that new school flow. So I listen to like JID and Denzel Curry. That like those are like my 1-2 guys when it comes to like listening to hip hop, because like they're part of the new generation, but they're also keeping that same style of like lyrical rap and hip hop, but also consciousness as well. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking about.
So for this, so I'm hoping that we get this EP by the end of the year, first and foremost. Second, what would you want this, like the overall theme or message to be in your EP if you're to create one, or one you do create?
So I have a vision. So like the EP, I'm thinking I want that to just be more of like expressing my own personals, like different egos and like different sides, my personalities. I want to actually create like a concept album. And I think the album would be related to my journey as a podcaster. That's what I want to do. So like, I want to create some type of like some Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City type of shit. Like that's the vision I have. I want it to be where like, there's a story to like, you're actually like, it's like a novel. Like you're reading a book, but it's through music. Yeah. That's like what I want to do. But the EP, I guess just something more fun, just open, more vibrant. So like, yeah, like listen, if anyone wants to hop on a track, or you know, actually better yet, if anyone has studio time, let me in, because like I know when it comes to doing stuff like that too, it's hard because I don't want to rush into it. I want to learn. I want to understand. When I came up with the theme song, I'm gonna be honest, I thought I could be a hot shot. Like you mentioned, sometimes you gotta like tell yourself, I can do this. Like I didn't know nothing about music and everything. Listen, when it comes to audio engineering, that's podcasting, that's my game. But when it came to music, I'm like, yeah, I tried it. The beat's not working. I brought it to someone that someone referred me to, and I was like, I don't know, like this is just not clicking. I'm telling you, he just pulled this out. Like, okay, we're just gonna stick with this. And I'm like, I'm just gonna turn it up a key. And when he did it, I'm like, this guy's a magician. I'm like, there's no way, like that's the sound I'm looking for. So like, I know my role, so I just want to like get in the studio and just kind of learn a bit more, just get that understanding. I don't want to rush into it. So like, even though I want to try music for 2024, I may not guarantee you that's going to drop 2024, because like it may come out 2025. I'm about to learn a bit, but you know, baby steps. Maybe if it's not me making a song, if I can get featured on a song, that would be like
that's a step. That's a step. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Like so if anyone wants to feature, like please let me know. Let me know. I won't charge for that much. So,
you also have like a musical name. Like it's Sean Williams.
You really think so?
No, like you like Sean Williams. No, like the name Sean Williams. Like, I think it's kind of nice. I like it. But
that's the first time I've ever heard something
like
that.
No, like it sounds like your name, like there's like a strength to it. I can't really explain it.
You know,
but like
what?
it just like there's like a ring to it, but like it's definitely a name that's like it commands attention.
Yeah,
that's how I interpret it.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because I do have like this little picture in my house where it's like it gives like the definition or like an explanation of my name. So on the frame it says Shon. and it says protected by the Lord.
Mm.
So it's pretty fitting because like I come from a Christian family. So my dad, he's a pastor.
Oh, okay.
So like every Sunday, like we will have like service and everything like that. So I feel like it speaks well, like you mentioned, you know. So yeah, I mean,
No, amazing.
you know, if you want to hear me do music, then let me know.
Yeah, I guess just out of curiosity, so kind of like what I mentioned earlier about like attaching the I, or like our egos our identities attached to like labels that we give ourselves. So whether it's our name, our titles, our roles and whatnot in society, who are you outside of being a podcaster? Because like throughout this conversation, like I've learned a lot about you, and like for me, like my interpretation of you is a very bubbly, positive, optimistic human being with
Thank you. I really
an
appreciate that.
insane amount of zeal and resilience. And that, like, I think it's just so amazing. Like, it's just something that literally like, these are traits that people desire having, but like, it seems like it's just something for you that, like, you just like, you have a vision, you're working towards something, and you're just doing it, you know, regardless of the roadblocks or the hiccups. So, but in that same vein, like, you've talked about it in the context of building this podcast in the past 3 years, right? And like being a podcaster, being an audio engineer. But who are you outside of those titles? Because like you're more than those labels, right? So like, have you like introspected and thought of that? And like, if not, why? And if yes, who are you?
I mean, yeah, I've thought about it a couple of times. Like, simply put, I'm just a normal person, and I know that's gonna sound super cliche and vague, but like it's true. Like, I'm a normal person who just wants to get to know someone else. You know, just have a conversation. Like I said, like I think it was really when high school hit. I was someone that just loved to like chat with someone. It didn't matter what the topic was. It's like I just want to talk to you, you know? It wasn't that I wasn't the type of person where like I needed to talk to someone because like I crave that type of like setting or environment. Like I can go times where I'm MIA, you will not hear from me. That is okay. But there's times it's like, you know what? I just want to talk to someone. Like I kid you not, there's days I'm randomly working. I will literally put down my laptop just to call someone, just be like, yo, what's up? They're like, yo, I'm at work. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you want to talk afterwards? Just let me know. Like, I just want to see how you're doing. But like, people appreciate that too, because one thing, like, and I feel like I might go on my own tangent, but you know how you have your like your contacts and everything like that. You get someone's contact, but maybe you don't call them. It's just like you have them, but you don't call them. So like for me, I try to use the best of my contacts just to call someone, just to be like, hey, what's up? You know, and they appreciate that because like number one, again, we don't talk on the phone as the way we do like in the past or like in previous years. Like everything's kind of like now social media or like even text message. And even that I have lots of people say like, yo, if you text me, like probably not see it. I'm like, I don't know how you don't see it. You have your notifications on, but that's a whole different conversation in my opinion.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna just interject right now. So I am a caller. I'm a horrible texter. It's something I'm working on because it is a horrible look, and like it's not something that I hold pride in. Like I hate it so much. I hate because I think too much about texting, and like I'm the type of person that calls people because it's easier to communicate. You can get what you need to get done or said like faster. And it's an immediate form of communication, but also everyone has different lives and everyone's doing different things. You can always reach me when you call me, but in terms of texting, you will hear late from me, unfortunately. And I just like, and honestly, part of the reason why is like, I have my badge notifications off for a lot of like my apps so that I don't see notifications. It doesn't make me want to click through. I've set up my notifications in such a way where it's like, I don't want to receive them immediately. Like I will see it in my notification center unless I open up my notification center, because I don't like that sense of urgency or immediacy with things, and like it makes me want to stay on my phone longer, and like I hate my addiction to my phone. So it's like anything that keeps me on there is just so like blah, you know. So I just feel like I like being just like I like to try and at least dedicate some specific amount, some time to like responding. but like it's also like texting requires a lot of thinking, and especially when you're seeing multiple different messages that you have to respond to, that overwhelms me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So
it's good. I'm glad to know that you're one of those people who likes the calls rather than the text.
Yeah.
Listen, like I'm a person when it comes to the notification. Like I don't try to like answer immediately, but
you're a fast replier.
And it's not even like it's not even intentional. It's not even like I'm trying to like I don't know. It's just like if I see a notification, like okay, I'll click it.
You're a fast replier.
Yeah,
like, and that is such a good thing. Like I'm like I want to be like that, but I can't be like that.
So here's the thing. I went to a holiday social at the end of like last year, 2023, and they had like this bingo card. So like it was like entrepreneurship edition. So it's like, oh, do you have like a brick and mortar, or like have you started your business but stopped at one point, yada yada yada. There was one box that said this person has 0 unread emails. So obviously everyone's going around trying to like fill out their card, and like I was being a generous person. I'm like, okay, yeah, you can just put me under has 0 unread emails. People couldn't believe it. I'm like, that's cap. They're like, show us. And like every time I would have to pull up my phone, I'm like, yeah, 0. It's like, do you have a notification on? I'm like, no. It's like, how do you do it? I'm like, bro, if I see mail, I open it, I check. If it's important, I'll take the time. If it's not, swipe delete.
Do you actually delete, like you clear your inbox, like you delete it?
Like there's stuff that I'll just leave there. Yeah. I will read it, but if it's truly like I don't want it, I just delete it.
I got that. I hate my email. My inbox. It is a minefield.
Do you have
there.
how much unread emails? Like if we had to like, you tell us.
Let's have a look right now. So right now in my inbox, I have 92 unread, which is great. That's on.
Honestly, that is amazing. For most people, that is low.
No, it's very like I have to. I've started to set aside more time to like at least skim through. So part of what contributes to like the emails, other than like subscriptions and stuff, it's Google alerts. So like I've set specific terms. So the terms that I've set that I want alerts to are innovation, wellness, and health, or like things along those lines. So like I get a shit ton of Google alerts every single day just with that. And like it's such a clutter thing. And then I have like a whole bunch of other stuff that contribute to just like the entire like just stuff, and like I hate it so much. So like I'm always trying to like select all, mark as read. Like the other day, like I think my inbox was like at 92%, like it was 92% filled, and I had to declutter because I'm like, this is ridiculous, because I was I was marking things as read, but I wouldn't delete it after. And most of these emails you don't need, because it's just like clutter, unless it's actually like like it's
listen, 92, that's extremely low. I know people that have like over 1,000, 2,000 plus. So like it some have 10,000 plus. I'm like, delete your account.
Just like are you really gonna sit down and read 10,000
just delete your account. Okay, but I do have some good news. We did hit an hour and 51 minutes.
Whoa, yeah.
It's like, all right, now we can end the episode.
Okay, let's wrap it up. That was fun. See, that
was honestly, I mean,
if two people are committed to achieving something, that's teamwork.
I was kind of ready to finish, but like Faiza's like, no, we're doing it. I'm like, all right.
I'm not. He was into it as well, as far as I'm concerned. We were talking.
I was into it,
and it just required a push. It just required a little push.
Listen,
let's do it.
If it was up to me, I would do more. But y'all know the life of a podcaster, editing. Just keep that in mind. So
I truly apologize for that. So I forgot about that.
I'm
let's go longer.
Let's go 2 hours. It's like, I'll spend like the entire day just editing it.
That was literally me with AQF interviews, where I'm like, I want you to talk, like speak your mind. That's great. And then I'm like, oh shit, I have to actually edit this.
It's like, honestly, like I'm being honest, I'm gonna have to probably cut this into a 2-parter, because I'm not about to like put pain to my listeners with like 1 hour 50 straight. Like, nah.
I mean, depend. I guess.
Listen, I know how it be. Some people even tell me like, listen, I listen to your podcast, but dude, I might have to listen in chunks. Maybe one day 20 minutes, another day I can't go.
Really, people don't listen. Have you heard of Nothing But Anarchy?
I've heard the name.
That is my favorite podcast. Like, no, the Shade Room is fuck. The Safe Room is fire.
It's like, wow.
No.
Sip my
The
coffee,
Safe Room, hey. Come on, wait. The Safe Room is phenomenal. Nothing But Anarchy. the podcast, like, fuck, I feel like I shouldn't have like gotten into this
It's just like,
tangent.
so hold on. Let me retract for a second.
Hold on. All I'm gonna say is that there are certain people that like listening to long form podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people. Like literally I will sit down and like it's nice to like I'll listen to it on a walk, because like when you're walking, like maybe it's not just about listening to music, like it's just like you get lost in a conversation, and I think that's really cool. I went through a phase when I was deathly obsessed with the Breakfast Club. Like that was part of my morning routine in undergrad. Like I would I set up my Google Home to like be my alarm at like 6 a.m. depending on the time I had class. So it would play Burna Boy's Own It or whatever. I forgot the name of the song. And then Google would automatically play the newest episode of The Breakfast Club, and that would be like part of my morning routine as I'm getting ready for my day in my school. And it would just like, and those were long ass episodes, like almost 2 hours. So like,
no, listen, I'm the same. Like I currently watch shocker, I'm still a guy that watches wrestling to this day. I don't care what anyone thinks. I love it. Like it's still within me. Because listen, it's
a shocker.
No, because like everyone says like it's fake. I don't even care about that. Like there's so much aspects.
It's entertainment.
It's entertainment. Yeah. Like I said, it's storytelling in its own way.
It's doing the job, yeah.
Right. So like I listen to this one guy on YouTube, and like sometimes he'll be going for like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and I will listen to it talked about. So like I understand. I think it's just me understanding my audience and like even other people too. A lot of people don't want to sit there for like an hour and 40 and listen to something straight. So like that's why I'm being considerable, and so like okay, I'll put a 2-parter.
Fair.
You know?
Fair. You're a considerate person. Yeah. That is great.
Yeah.
As last question for you. Do you like video essays?
Video essays? Yeah.
Okay. That's all. We don't need to get into it. Yeah. I just, now I'm like, I'm not being considerate by continuing the conversation.
We're about to hit
2 hours.
We're at 1 hour and 54. We're about to hit 1 hour 55.
Okay. Let's wrap it up.
I have to wrap it up. My computer's at 13%, so I'm being mindful. But Faizah, thank you for coming on. I truly mean this. This was one of the most fun conversations I've had, like in the entirety of the entire. No, I mean it. This was fun.
Just in this year or just
no?
In general?
I'm talking from episode 1 to 1. Like it's up there, like top 3 for sure.
You are feeding my ego right now. Like the competitive spirit is on.
It's just
it's just like the longest conversation. Now the best.
I'm being honest. If I had more juice in my computer, I would hit 2, but I don't want to take that risk.
And have it all delete? Nah. Would it delete?
No,
if
it will save.
Okay,
it will save, but it's just I'm worried about that right there. I don't want to be where the camera shuts off, because that's happened to me once. So I should wrap this up.
Yeah, let's do that.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you sharing about a question for your personal journey, and then that session, that little banter session we just had. Like I love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you so much, Shon. This is amazing. Yes. Thank you for inviting me. This is fantastic.
Of course. Thank you again to our house CEO for allowing us this space to do what we do. Just final question, where can people find you on social media?
So you can find me on Instagram at wowitsfaizah. That's WOWITSFAIZAH. And you can find A Question For by either going to www.aquestion4.com, or you can check us out on Instagram and TikTok at aquestion4.you. So yeah, and you can join our wait list. We're on the road to hitting 1,000 subscribers, or 1,000 waitlist subscribers for our launch on March 8th. So join us on that journey, please.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much, Faizah. Thank you everyone to listening for this. It'll be a 2-parter. It's not the full episode. It's just part 2 in a way of this long episode. But I had fun.
Yeah, no, it was great.
You guys can check us out at The Safe Room Official on Instagram and TikTok. I got to do better. I only got 2 videos. And the thing is, I have all the content ready. It's just like I need to take the time to post it. But it's coming. But Instagram, we are active. We are very active on Instagram. YouTube, again, very experimental.
It's a process. It's gradual.
YouTube, you can subscribe to us, the Safe Room Podcast. And currently, as recording this, I'm working on, or I say not working on, but I am facilitating my workshops. So hopefully it's the first of many. So if I let you know, then you have to be following to know what's up, the 411. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Big things coming for the podcast. I said 2023 was gonna be the year where we're getting our name out there. We did. 2024, we get in the bag. That's the new goal. Like the money's about to come in. The cha-ching is about to be cha-chinging. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you again to Faizah, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.